Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 59 of Lonely Gods. I'm your host, David Reinhardt, and I'm joined here, as always, by Kate Riley.
Hi.
Hi.
I hope you'll have to excuse the planes, trains, and automobiles. Fucking bombs going off outside.
Episode 59 is The Time Warrior.
This is the Time Warrior. You
First
know,
episode of season 11, first
it
story
is.
with Sarah Jane.
Yep. Yesterday there was somebody outside in the parking lot screaming about fucking her right in the pussy.
Who?
I don't know, just some random asshole outside of our building.
Weird.
Weird.
You live near crazy people.
I guess. Or I live near people who have the internet and think they're funny.
Oh, that too. So, I have been listening to lots of Doctor Who audio dramas
Yes, to the
lately.
point of driving me crazy.
Yes. Yes, very much so.
I almost regret giving you the Big Finish disease.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Whatever.
I really like them. I've really liked quite a few of the ones I've listened to. Um, Geez, I think I've listened to like all of these since the last time we recorded.
Yeah, probably.
I've listened to a ton of First Doctor stuff, which was really nice. It was nice to go back to Ian and Susan and Barbara.
Good old Babs.
Yeah. Um,
I have a lot of affection for that first cast, I guess.
yeah, that's pretty great. And their one historical story that takes place right after Marco Polo. Oh God, what's it called, Kate?
Oh, farewell, great Macedon.
Yes, about Alexander the Great was fantastic. It's so good, and it's 6 episodes long.
It's really, really, really good. It's just absolutely baffling that they didn't make it. I mean, it might have been expensive, but seeing as how much money they spent on Marco Polo, judging by the stills, I mean, they could have done it if they wanted to. I just
Yeah.
don't know why they didn't. But I mean, it's not. I guess it's not right directly after Marco Polo because Fragrance is in between. But
Oh yeah. Fragrance was good too.
I like Fragrance a lot. But I can see why that maybe they didn't make it in 1963 because it's like this one episode weird little like it doesn't. I mean, the point of the story is all like emotional. It's not
Yeah.
really a sci-fi story in a lot of ways. So, but Macedon is fantastic, and both of those stories were written by the same writer, and he just got so into writing them he wasn't even hired. He just wrote all seven of these like as finished scripts and handed them in,
Um,
which that's dedication, I guess.
what were some of the other ones? We had
Luxor, I guess.
Luxor.
Yes.
Yes, Luxor was interesting.
I like it's a bit like harder, sort of heavier, more philosophical, like
Oh, it's like
sci-fi
super hardcore
stuff.
sci-fi.
Yeah, than Doctor Who normally covers, and some people don't like it because of that. I think it's kind of an interesting
I
thing.
think that I didn't care. I mean, I thought that the story overall was okay because I found a lot of the points and conversations it was bringing up and having fascinating, but
Hmm.
the story itself I found kind of slow and monotonous, and I didn't think it really paid off too much.
Yeah, you're not alone in that. I kind of got sucked into the atmosphere, and like I think it was the dialogue is really well written, and it is sort of more in the discussions than the plot, but. I tend to glom onto to things like character and dialogue sometimes, so
Oh,
I'll
me
I'll, I'll,
too.
I'll forgive somewhat of a weak plot for that. Um, but I like it. It's the kind of thing you might have seen on like original Star Trek in a way. So and it's kind of weird to see it transplanted into Doctor Who, but I like it. I don't know if I'd wanted the whole series to be like that, but I
Yeah.
like it.
Well, that's
Um,
why I really, really liked Here There Be Monsters,
mhm.
just because of its like deep discussion about the nature of reality and all that.
See, now that one I never really got too much into. I was like, oh well, yeah.
I really like that idea that there's like Like if you fuck with the fabric of reality, there are just like mind-boggling creatures on the other side that we can barely even comprehend, and you don't want to unleash.
Yeah, well,
But
I
there's
liked.
also parallel, like there's that, and there's also like civilization and stuff on the other side as well.
Well, no, see, but it's not as well. The so-called monsters and the civilization on the other side are the same thing.
Well, no, but there is a monster too.
No, there isn't.
What was the giant jellyfish thing then?
That's the technician guy who, when he's not in his human form. Like
Oh,
he doesn't look like that normally. It's just what we would call monsters are just too alien to us. That's the lesson here, right? So I was attached to the idea that there might be like eldritch horrors beyond space because that kind of cosmic horror isn't something Doctor Who normally tackles. And that would be interesting. But once it kind of be like, well, actually, they're just nice guys and they're just different. I'm like, oh, that's kind of lame.
I
So
wish I like my sci-fi Eldritch horror a lot.
yes, well, I'm glad to hear that. My
I
Steam
do.
gift won't be in vain. um,
Um,
yes, what else would you? I mean, I think you'd heard Quintus before then, right?
Quintus,
Did you
yes,
see Hunters of Earth?
yes.
Yes.
Hunters of Earth is pretty good.
I kind of liked it. I mean, I think it's a bit cheap to be like, oh, by aliens we meant foreigners, but I'm like, that's a little bit lame. but
Yeah.
but otherwise, it's pretty neat.
Um,
I think the only other First Doctor one, Transit of Venus. You didn't mention that one, but
Transit of Venus.
that's where Ian's nuts on Captain Cook's ship.
Oh yeah, I did really like that one. Took me a little bit to like wrap my head around it, but I liked it.
Hmm.
It was interesting. I
It
like
was,
when
it was
Doctor Who gets a little weird, metaphysical at times.
I do too, but Venus and Monsters both were kind of like, yeah, as far as I'm concerned. But
They were nice and short though.
they are short, yeah. But that's the companion chronicles for you.
I liked them, and then I listened to some Eighth Doctor stuff. Um,
Really? Which ones would you have listened to? Oh, I guess you would have listened to.
I listened to uh there were two one episode ones.
Oh,
Letting Go.
and Living Legend, which would have
And
actually fit back in
I
earlier, and I
I
forgot
like
to give you
Living
them.
Legend. It's really simple and
Yeah.
kind of silly, but I thought it was fun.
Well,
And
sometimes a one-off detour is
yeah,
fine.
well, it was just nice. I like when the Doctor is just clever.
Yeah.
It was just the Doctor being clever. Um, and Letting Go was interesting.
I honestly don't remember very much. That's been a long, long time since I've heard that
It's
one.
just strange. And then I listened to Seasons of Fear.
Ooh, yes, that's getting sort of more into the meaty story arc, I guess.
What was Seasons of Fear about? Oh, was that's the one with the guy that says he's gonna kill the Doctor,
Yes.
and the Doctor's running through time to try to figure out why and causing most of the problems, and then rewriting history, which I really liked.
Yes.
But that just reminds me a lot of the one of the Christmas 11th Doctor Christmas specials.
Well, Paul McGann did it first, so there.
Yeah, but
So,
I like that, and then I'm a little bit into Embrace the Darkness.
oh,
Or and by a little bit, I mean I think I'm on the last episode.
oh, well, there you go.
That one's been okay.
I've liked it. I mean, but then again, I listened to it in the dark.
I know, but this is just a second story, Paul McGann story where it's about some weird alien presence and they're running between two spaceships adrift in space.
It is a little bit like sort of Orion,
Yeah.
but well, I mean, they're not two spaceships. I mean, the one is on a planet, to be fair, but
Oh, well, you know what I mean.
yeah.
They're like going back and forth between the base and the craft.
It actually kind of, I mean, it's sort of the base on this lonely ass little sunless rock kind of reminded me of Satan Pit a little bit, but
It's not as good as the Satan Pit so far.
well, no, but Satan Pit's really good. So,
Satan Pit is really good.
so I guess what do you have left on your plate? Time of the Daleks and then the Torchwood ones, I guess. But
No, Solitude,
Oh,
then
Solitaire,
and
yes.
Solitary, and then Time of the Daleks,
Right.
and then Torchwood stuff.
And Torchwood stuff. I guess you should have Neverland as well, just to finish off the season for Eighth Doctor.
Yeah.
But anyway, none of this is the Time War.
No, the Time War. I have a couple notes.
The Time War.
Did season 11 have a new theme? It's
Not
not
new music.
song, but new graphics, right?
New credits, yes.
Boy, is that some early CG.
That's not CG at
But you
all.
know what I mean.
But it's not CG.
Special effects, just that weird
They
like.
they look really good. I like those credits. I think they stand up really
I
well.
just think the punching out of the profile of the Doctor just looks really silly.
I like it a lot. I think they're my favorite credits so far, in all honesty.
Whatever.
They're really cool.
Oh,
I like this
but
version of the Vortex and stuff.
what's up with like the hard cuts in and out of credits?
What do you mean hard
Like like
cuts?
like it just cuts the theme song.
It doesn't.
Well, maybe it was just the copy I was watching.
I don't know. It shouldn't. I mean, I didn't notice any jarring cuts. I just like, hey, new credits. These are really snazzy and cool. And it's not CG. It's a process called slit scan, which was used on 2001. And well, my understanding of how it's done is that you actually have this sort of abstract design. You paint it on this transparent like film, and then it goes onto this glass backlighting table, and you mask it. You have a masking over the design with slits in it, and the camera's above the table, and it sort of zooms in, and it gives the effect somehow. I'm generally certain of how it works. Exact technicalities, but that's more or less how it is. It's a little bit. I think it's somewhat like a multiplane animation camera, but I don't know for sure.
I see.
So apparently these credits took like months to make, which doesn't surprise me. But whatever. Color me a fan. I like them a lot. So yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, don't be salty. Come on.
I'm not. So the first note I have down here is, boy, that sure is a castle set.
But it's not. That's a real one.
It is?
Yes,
It looks so fake.
it's a real castle.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm absolutely sure. It's a real place. You can go visit it.
I don't know. It looked
However,
like.
however, I think it looks quite good because I mean,
No, I mean not the outside, the exterior castle shot looks great. I'm talking about some of the interior stuff.
well, the interior stuff is a mix of studio and a mix of.
Okay, well then the ones
real.
I'm talking about are obviously like they look like play sets.
Well, I think the sets themselves look fine. I think the problem is with the direction, honestly, and I'll get to that in a bit. But no, I mean that's a real castle. I mean it's not quite a genuine medieval castle though. That one was built in the 1800s.
Okay, that's why it's so straight.
Yeah. But I think it looks good. Actually, the one of the Robin Hood movies, whatever one had Uma Thurman in it, filmed there as well.
Shot at that one.
Yeah.
I must be then that note must be from one of the sets because there's no way what I was talking about was like they walk up like a little platform and you can hear that it's like hollow, not.
Oh well,
proper.
that's true of so many sets on this show.
Oh, I know, but I just really noticed it and said like because you're right. Like the exterior shots in the castle looked great. It was the like the feasting hall and stuff that was clearly a set with
I
them.
thought those looked fine. They look fine. I just don't
I
think.
didn't think it looked too
Mm.
produced.
Here's my. It looked fine to me. The sets themselves, I think, were built perfectly well. I mean, one of the things the BBC does very well was historical serials. I mean, if you look at something from around the same time, like I Claudius, for example, is just fantastic. Of course, I Claudius is a limited series and doesn't have probably has more money put to it than Doctor Who does. But I think the directions is really simple. I don't think those sets are photographed terribly
Well,
flatteringly.
no, they're not. That's one of the problems too.
Because it's not so much that the set looks like a play, it's that it's framed like a play because you're looking at the actors as though you're sitting in an audience and the camera is just pointed at them. Like there's not a whole lot of interesting angles going on.
Yeah, and that's not a good way to do TV.
Yeah, the reason for this is because the director who they got to do this, Barry Letts, was going to direct this himself, but he ended up being busy. He's launching a new show called Moonbase 3. Um, So he didn't do it, and they hired a guy called Alan Bromley, and he was a television director way, way, way back in the early days of BBC, like in the early 1950s. He directed a lot of children's plays and things like that. And after that, for the 60s and most of the 70s, he had become a producer. And so by the time he came back to direct this one, I don't think he wasn't prepared for the way TV had changed. He wasn't prepared for how it was shot. So he didn't. He, despite Barry Letts, as a producer, telling him to do things one way, he usually say, "Oh, I have a better way." But by better way, he usually meant simpler way, which is why you get a lot of very, sort of quick and easy two shots, a lot of just pointing the camera at the actors, not a lot of complicated stuff. Because that was what he was used to, was doing live television, where you didn't have the time to set up fancy angles and things. And I think that shows, especially in these castle sets, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because Barry Letts is a good director as well as a producer. I mean, he's directed more than one of the John Pertwee years, and Enemy of the World was his first Doctor Who directing job, and well, I really like Enemy of the World, so hooray!
Yay.
but this bozo, I don't know, because everything else is good. Because I think the actors and the performances are perfectly fine. It's just really bland direction. Like,
Yes, very, very much so.
it's like because it's definitely somebody who's not comfortable with cinematic angles or special effects. It's like, let's just do this the easiest, most boring way possible.
Indeed.
So, anyway, carry on.
Uh, yes.
Yes.
Um, so the plot of the Time Warrior is there is a bandit named Iron Gron in the Middle Ages, and his right hand Blood Axe are
Which is a
bandits.
great name.
It really is a great name. Have taken a castle and are like just being a general nuisance and raiding party to the surrounding kingdoms, whose soldiers are off fighting a war. And
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this must be from the Crusade or something then.
yeah,
Era.
that's what I was thinking.
They're not really terribly specific about when exactly this is, which is fine. I don't really care. To be honest.
And it turns out that they're getting help. They find a crashed spaceship, which is a Sontaran ship with a warrior named Linx.
Yes.
What?
I really liked the Links in this, but you finish up what you were saying first.
No, I do. I really like the Sontarans in general. But he offers the Iron Gron quote unquote magical weapons if he assists him, and then the Doctor and Brigadier are investigating the disappearance of scientists, which it turns out Linx is dragging back through time to help him work on their ship. Help him work on his ship.
I think that's really neat. I missed being in the historical setting for one thing.
Me too, but I like the blend of historical and sci-fi.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, this is Robert Holmes, who It's been something of a staple writer for a while now, and he didn't like writing historicals. And But the thing is that Terrence Dicks and Barry Letts, they wanted a historical for the premiere because they realized, well, we haven't had a historical in a long, long time. Um, but Robert Holmes didn't want to write a historical, so eventually there came to the sort of a compromise of where there would be a historical with he sent in, like, the story outline was really cool because he didn't just send it in as a story outline. He sent it in as in the form of like Linx's war journal.
Really?
Yeah. Talk about effort for something. But I thought that was really cool. That's quite neat.
Indeed.
Hooray.
Hooray!
Hooray. And as for the Sontarans themselves, I mean, they're remarkably fully formed here. I mean, like, this is only the
You
first
mean
outing.
as a species?
Yeah, like everything that makes a Sontaran is in place, like, right away. They have the probic vent. They look like their armor looks like they look like the ships.
It's
You
the
know,
only
the cloning, the never-ending war. Like, you
There's
know.
a lot of really weird hair on this Sontaran.
Mm.
Like the little weird hairs, like just like singular hair, like sticking off.
Yeah, well, I don't see why, the
Like
odd Sontaran.
they change this. They get rid of that. They make them more like smooth skinned. It was just kind of weird seeing that.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's whatever. It's just that's just what Lynx does. But I just think as a species, they're really
Yeah,
well
oh no, they're
defined.
very well
And
defined.
and
Their
and the,
faces
the
look
Sontarans.
they look good, but they also look like they clearly wanted to make the mouths bigger than they could.
I think those were meant to be scars. I just assumed those were meant to be like Joker scars, but
Oh really? I thought that was like supposed to be its whole mouth. I couldn't.
I don't think so because I mean they wouldn't have been able to open it all that way. I don't know why they would have done that.
I guess.
I mean, I don't know.
But
Maybe
you
they
could
maybe
like
they would be silly enough to try, but
they did a really good job with the headpiece, but every once in a while you could see the head move a little bit, like the actor's head, because he's basically wearing like a mask that also has a helmet attached to it.
yeah. Well, I mean,
His
I
base
think it.
is the front of the head, and then there's like a couple inches at the back that's all just.
I didn't notice any problems with it, honestly. I
I'm
mean,
not saying there were problems. I'm just saying like I had a it was very a very good
I think it was a good prosthetic. I mean, it,
copy.
it works
I,
works well.
yeah, no, it definitely does.
And I was just thinking, like, the Sontarans you see on the series now, they're the same as the Sontaran you're seeing in this story. Like, they
Which is
really are.
awesome.
Which is great because, like, other enemies on this on the classic series sometimes take a while. Like the Cybermen, for example. The Cybermen changed a lot from when you first met them, right?
Yes.
And even the Daleks. I mean, the Daleks looked like Daleks and they acted like Daleks from Word One. But the thing is like, their mythology evolved over time. But these Sontarans are pretty much set like right away, which is kind of cool. I thought I was kind of surprised to see the vent sort of become a plot point because I thought that might have been something that maybe Russell T Davies invented, but he didn't, which is good. Um, I think I might like the Sontarans better without all that Sontar Ha nonsense, though. I'm kind of glad that wasn't in the classic series, because, well, that's just dumb.
Yes. I guess.
Anyway, yay Sontarans.
Yay, Sontarans. Um. So this is also Sarah Jane pops up before the Doctor runs into the Middle Ages to find the missing scientists.
I like her introduction a lot,
I
actually.
do too. I like how
Because I mean, she begins by bullshitting her way into a secure facility and then not taking no for an answer.
yeah,
And stowing away on the TARDIS. And
it's
I
pretty
like
good.
how for like a good portion of the story, she thinks the Doctor's the bad guy.
Yeah, I did really like that.
That's a nice touch. I like. I mean, yeah, it's cool. I'm pleased to have. It's a bit of variety, really, because I think a lot of characters are. I mean, the Doctor, people trust him like instinctively for some reason. So it's kind of interesting to see people who don't quite fall for his charm, I guess.
Yeah.
But I really liked Sarah Jane. I mean, I always have. I've liked her on her own show and in the new series, and she's just as wonderful in this story. So pretty much it's all good. um, I look forward to her sticking around for a while. And she's definitely I think had a longer like lifespan than any of the other companions as far as like screen time goes, because she stays with the show for a good while, and then she has the attempted K9 spinoff that only had one episode, and then she has 2 seasons worth of Big Finish audios, and then she turns back up on the new series, and then she gets her own show for 5 seasons.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, when is there going to be Jamie the series? Because I want to see that.
Me too. That would be a great series.
Exactly. Him trying to run his clan in the Highlands. I'd be down with that shit. Apparently, when Elizabeth Sladen came to do like her first scene, John Pertwee, who was still grumpy that Katie Manning had left, fucking came out and like sat himself in a folding chair like this gonna be good for her first scene, right in front of her eye line, trying to be friendly, but all it did was scare the shit out of her.
Nice.
It's like, oh, you poor kid. But this season's kind of the beginning of the end, really, because at this point, John Pertwee and Terrence Dix and Barry Letts have all made the decision to leave the show, so this is their last year for all of them as regular, uh, staff. And of course, Katie Manning's already left, and Roger Delgado has died, so it's kind of that little family they had during the John Pertwee years is kind of breaking up at this point, which is a little bit sad, but it just means we get new people and new things and new doctors.
Yes.
Yes. But I mean, really, the big tragedy out of that is not having any more Roger Delgado, because his master was so wonderful.
He really was. He was an evil wizard.
He was an evil wizard, and one time he literally became an evil wizard.
And it was fantastic.
Oh,
More wizardry.
or wizardry. Actually, the archer sidekick in this story, Hal, I think his name is, which is kind of a weird name for a medieval archer, but whatever. He's played by what's his face? He was in the Space Museum as one of the teenage dickheads, and he did become Boba Fett eventually, which is kind of cool. But, so, yay trivia. I probably said this on the Space Museum episode, but Space Museum is a much worse story than this one. So.
Yes. Indeed.
Indeed. Have you anything else to say?
Yes, I do. Sorry. I have quite a bit.
I've pretty much exhausted all my notes by interrupting you, so please continue.
I did you like The Time Warrior?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was really solid.
I did too. It was fun. It wasn't like the greatest story or whatever, but it was a solid story that was really fun throughout. I really liked the interactions. I have
I'm glad that this was 4, because like if it had been 6, it wouldn't. Yeah. I don't think it would have worked as well. But anyway,
I wrote a quote down that I really liked. I liked that the doctor said, when he was talking to the brig, he said a straight line may be the fastest way between 2 points, but it is by no means the most interesting.
He's just trying to make excuses for the fact the TARDIS doesn't go where he wants.
It's not even that necessarily. It's like, because he talks to him about how he kept trying to go to Metebelis 6, in
Metabolus
the
3.
or Metabolus 3, which he does, and he gets that crystal
Yeah,
from.
the magical hypnotizing crystal.
Yeah, but I really like that. I thought that's basically like the Doctor's philosophy. Like
Yeah,
he's
pretty
gonna get
much.
where he's going eventually, but he's gonna just like bounce from place to place doing interesting, fun things.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And
then
that's one of the benefits of actually watching the show in order. And I understand why the DVD releases were kind of like all over the place because if you don't like one Doctor, you'd be waiting a long time. What if you're a Sylvester McCoy fan? You'd be waiting forever. but but yeah, I mean, one of the benefits is like you've seen that build up of Metabolus 3 being like a running joke, all through season 10, and then you finally get there in the finale, and then they're calling back to it again here. So it's nice to I like continuity. It makes me happy.
um, so Linx builds Iron Gron two types of magic weapons. One is just a bunch of rifles,
Mhm.
um,
Which they can't shoot worth a damn.
which they can't shoot worth a damn, and they're basically like, yeah, they're really, and then the other is like an iron a robot, basically a warrior who the note I wrote down for this is just run left or right. Like there are a bunch of that was my one problem with the Time Warrior. There are a bunch of fights in the Time Warrior that could have been solved by not running back, like straight back or forward, like realizing that you exist in three-dimensional space and can move left or right of things.
Yeah. Well, again,
Because
we have a
it swung it was like a children's toy robot that just moved its arm up
it's,
and down, and if
yeah,
you moved
that's
to the left
terrible.
or right, it didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. But I mean, I I don't know why it wouldn't have, because later in the story, when the Doctor like puts on the robot's armor and he has a sword fight, and it's a perfectly fine sword fight, and he moves around,
I
so it's
have to
like
say that sword fight was pretty awesome.
it was pretty good. And then it's like, okay, so clearly that means that suit is made for a person to go inside. It's not like it's like an automaton for real. So why couldn't the person in the suit the first time do something more interesting than putting his arm up and down?
Because it's a robot and it's the 70s.
I guess, but I
So
don't know
that's
how
not
that's
an
supposed to be
excuse
fearsome
because
at
of.
all. You could fucking just go behind it and tip it over. I mean,
I know it was really bad.
terrible. Terrible.
I did also like the Archer.
I liked him too. He's pretty good. I liked that he got to finish off Links. That was a lovely shot.
Oh yeah, that wasn't. I was not expecting that. Shot him right in the vent.
I liked him a lot. He was actually considered to become a new companion, but it didn't happen for one reason or
Oh.
another. It's been a while since we had a male companion, and call me call me a terrible person, but I kind of like the male companion dynamic.
Me too. No, I like it too. We talk about Jamie and Ian all the time, so
Well, sure. I mean, it's not that. I mean, there's plenty of female companions we like too, but most of the time it's sort of a different relationship with the
yes,
Doctor. It's a little bit more competitive, I think, in a way.
yeah. Just wait until you get to Rory.
Hmm.
I like
I
Rory a lot.
probably will eventually.
Um, but what else was I thinking of? But yeah, I did. I liked the Time Warrior. I liked all the the magic that the Doctor cooks up and stuff to help
His stink bombs.
his stink bombs and stuff.
Yeah, that was the thing Terrence Dix came up with himself actually, because the script that Robert Holmes sent in had at that point like an actual like big battle like on the field outside of the castle with armies of knights running at each other, and obviously like, well, there's no way we can afford that, so let's come up with something else. Stink bombs. Yes, of course.
It was a fun story. Very well paced too.
Exactly.
Just
It's
not
I mean,
shot very
yeah.
well.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing that stuck out to me the most, as far as the direction goes, was when at the very end when the castle blows up, and
Yeah.
it just, instead of like the castle blowing up, they didn't use a model or anything. It was just they just cut to like stock footage of a wall falling over. It was like, oh, it's not very good. And again, that was the director's choice because they said to him like, look, back in the Demons we blew up this church and this is how we did it, and that looked really good, so you could use the same thing here on the castle. He's like, oh no, I'll just use stock footage, and it's like. And on the DVDs, some of these sequences are replaced with CG effects. And unlike the ones on Day of the Daleks, these ones are absolute shit. They're even worse than the bad 70s effects, if you can believe it.
Really?
Terrible. It looks like something you could do by yourself in Photoshop in like 2005. It looks like something that a graphic design student might come up with. It's just awful. The explosion effect for the castle, I don't know if you could find it on YouTube or something, but the CG version is just shit. I mean, I've seen better special effects on an Angry Video Game Nerd episode. Like, no, that's not hyperbole. I've literally seen better effects.
That's not a
Angry
good
Video Game Nerd. It looks absolutely terrible. Just
because
awful.
the castle blowing up doesn't look that bad.
Well, I mean, it's not great, but it's clearly cutting.
Great, but it's not bad.
I mean, it doesn't even look like the same building. It's not good.
But it's better than bad CG. Bad CG is the worst.
Absolutely, because nothing looks faker than bad CG.
I also liked
because at least if like a bad like practical effect is bad, at least it's still a real thing. But like CG just doesn't.
No.
I
liked Rubish, and I liked him reviving the scientists with a little light.
I like him too.
I liked his grinding his glass to make his glasses again, and I liked how don't worry, you'll never believe what's going on, but just when I say so, you just have to act like you're still hypnotized, and they're just like shuffling around like poking things.
Yeah, he's a small character, but he's given a lot of personality. I've liked him a lot. Like when he sneaks up behind Linx and clobbers him when the doctor's cornered.
Yes.
He just has this big smile on his face, like it's the best thing he's done all year.
Yeah, well, I like he's also like he's behind him and the doctor's like you have one weakness, the small vent on the back of your neck, and it's like he's telling him what to do, like and Linx doesn't realize it. It's such a simple trick, but it was. Really well done.
The thing that I really liked with Rubish is that his like continually like ongoing feud with some random scientist called Morrison. Like he's complaining about Morrison in the first episode at the base before they're all abducted. Once he dehypnotizes everybody and tries to tell them what's going on, he's like, "Oh, Morrison, don't ask me stupid questions." And when he's sending them all back to their own time, he sends Morrison back first, so he doesn't have to put up with them anymore.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's this tiny little thread that doesn't matter at all to the story, but it made me laugh.
Yeah, they did a really good job. But the characters of this story were really good. They were all really well formed and well written. I think that's why it, in spite of like the bad direction and stuff, it still was effective.
Well, I mean, Iron Gron and Blood Axe are hilarious together because Iron Gron's a fucking idiot, but Blood Axe thinks he's just the greatest guy ever.
Well, because Blood Axe is a total moron.
It's pretty great, and yeah.
So yeah. Next week we have a very exciting story.
Oh, well, we'll see how much you like it.
But it's called Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
But there's some plot developments with certain characters you're fond of that you might be sad about.
Fuck. but like Dinosaurs on a Spaceship was awesome, and it was like, how could it not be? It's called Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. If the only way it could be terrible is if they lied about that.
Yes. Well, actually, they did lie about Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Sorry.
They're not fucking dinosaurs.
Oh, there are dinosaurs, but it was a reverse lie. When the first until the dinosaurs were revealed, I think the first episode just had the title of The Invasion to keep it a secret, and then after that, the episodes had the title of Invasion of the Dinosaurs. So they were being sneaky.
I'm probably gonna watch this tonight because I like dinosaurs.
I like dinosaurs too.
Dinosaurs.
I still have my one note about the viewing figures is that the peak for Time Warrior was 10.6 million.
Wow, that is so much better than our modern viewing numbers.
Yes, but I mean, they had like 4 channels at the time, so.
That's true.
But yeah, that was for episode 4, and I think the lowest was like 7 million or something, so doing quite well. But it's quite good, especially if you compare it to like late Troughton was getting like pretty crappy figures of like 5 or 6 million or something. So, which is nothing to say because I mean Troughton was wonderful. It's just people weren't watching, so not his fault.
Right.
I suppose there's only so many base under sieges people could take.
Indeed. I guess that's about it here on our end. So we will be back next week with Invasion of the Dinosaurs, which apparently is not very good, and I'm now sad.
There are people who don't like it. People, I think, were expecting Jurassic Park when that's impossible.
Oh, okay. I'm expecting at best some good green screen use. Like I can't remember that one time we had that green screen monster that wasn't that huge, but that was effective.
Yeah.
And at worst, I'm picturing like Land of the Lost, uh,
I get.
stop motion with people like badly imposed in front of it, which I'm totally okay with. I like when I see crap like that because it's charming.
Well, we shall see what you make of it next week. Then
People hate the effects or the story.
I think they don't like the effects, and I think they don't like what happens to certain characters.
I don't know what that means, but fine.
I'm
It's
not
like
going to
you make
tell
it
you.
sound like someone's gonna die, and I
Well,
don't. Maybe someone does.
maybe someone does.
So fine.
We've had people die on this show before.
We've had a lot of people die on this show. So.
Well, I was thinking like main characters, but yeah.
All right. Well, we will be back next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.